On this episode of The Strange Show, I had the pleasure of interviewing Tony Baker at this year's Gadget Repair Expo in Miami. Tony Baker is a serial entrepreneur based out of Tampa, Florida. Tony has done an incredible job building his Self-Fix franchise to 13 locations while also building a device wholesale company called GSM Warehouse. Tony has really mastered the wireless services industry and has done an incredible job using social media to grow his businesses. Today's sponsor is my company, XI Repair. If you need your device repaired or data recovered, check out xirepair.com. We're a WISE certified provider that can help fix your device, including cell phones, tablets, computers, laptops, and game consoles. We offer an industry-leading warranty and have successfully fixed over 40,000 devices since 2018. Now, on to my conversation with Tony. How are you, man?
I am good, very good.
I've met you in person obviously before, but I've never had the opportunity to sit down with you other than like on the phone. So this is cool. I'm glad we finally got to do this. You started GSM Warehouse in what year?
2013, we started GSM Warehouse after my retail stores. We started with retail in 2012. GSM Warehouse started in 2013 to kind of support my retail stores. And
Was it the same name, the retail stores back in the day?
no, Selfix is our retail stores. We still currently own
Right,
the retail
today. But was
stores.
it Cellfix back in the day,
Yes,
or did you guys
Selfix. No,
rebrand?
GSM Warehouse has always been GSM.
Right,
Yes.
right. That's cool. I thought you guys had a rebrand at some point,
Yeah.
but no, that's cool. So 2013 for both of them, or when did you start Cellfix?
Selfix was a year prior, 2012.
That's awesome. So you saw a need for kind of wholesale devices for other repair shops. Was that kind of the main market you were trying to hit?
Well, the main reason why we started GSM Warehouse was we found an issue sourcing devices for Selfix for our retail stores. We were looking for vendors. We were looking for reliable vendors, trusted vendors, and that always been an issue in this industry. So we ended up saying, okay, we're gonna actually come up with our own vendor and supply my retail stores to filter these issues. So that was the initial start. It was just to back up my stores. Like this is a fund that we're gonna put to the side, and we're gonna just back up my stores. Lucky for us, with our network and a lot of the in this community, we ended up reaching out to a lot of cell phone repair shops. Our prices were very competitive, so we went from having no accounts to now close to 9,000 accounts.
Across the country? Is
Across
that
the country.
in mainly just US?
I would say probably about 95% U.S. We ship to Europe or other areas, but yeah, 95% are in the U.S.
That's amazing. So you guys buy at the big auctions. Do you guys do refurbishing for these? Is this like what's your process as a
As a
wholesaler?
wholesaler. As a wholesaler, we don't buy liquidations. We don't buy auctions. There's too many fallouts. Um, Refurbishing in house or repairing in house, we don't do. So any fallouts or any issues, we send back. And everything else we sell to our customers are almost 98% original parts. So what differs us from other wholesalers, if you would say, is 98% of our product has original parts. We do not put aftermarket screens. We don't put aftermarket parts inside the phones. Um, we have different grades. We have A grade, B grade, and C grade. So it pretty much goes to the retail stores of what grade they want to buy, or depends on their area. But pretty much everything sells. They're fully functional. We do a very aggressive testing. We test through a software at first, and then we also test manually. As you're probably aware, the software may tell you that the earpiece is working, but it would be too low. So you're only able to find that out as at a manual testing. So that eliminates a lot of the RMAs.
I wish you could have that conversation with Apple. I love when I argue with them and they say, because as an IRP, we're like an
Yes.
Apple independent partner. They want us to use their MRI, which is like basically an online testing portal for
Yes.
iPhones. And it's like we do manual testing for all of our devices for that reason, right? Like, how are you going to say that the speaker is loud enough? That's not always the best example, but how can you tell that some of the phone call you can't make a test call unless you're actually calling a device with a SIM card in it, for example. So yeah, that's cool. One of the things I've always appreciated about GSM Warehouse is I remember when I first saw your website. I don't remember what year it was, but you guys had pretty extensive like grading, like and like what that means, right? Because a lot of wholesalers are like, yeah, we sell grade A. Okay, well, what the hell does grade A mean, right? Like, does that mean there's 5 scratches? Does that mean there's a cracked screen too? Like, and it's been the wild west for a long time. So I feel like maybe you guys acknowledged that early on, and we're like, we're gonna maybe stand out. And I mean, because it's a pretty long list. Like,
Yes.
it's been a little while since I've clicked on the site, but when you click the drop down, I remember there was like a pretty long list of this many scratches, or this is the how many dents it might have, or the cracked screen, or the battery life. Like, you guys were might have pretty early, if I remember, in doing that when other vendors weren't.
Yeah, believe it or not, that's the discussion of this industry. Um, Possibly because I'm a retail store owner. I looked at that point from a different perspective. You're right. A lot of wholesalers have 4 probably points on a grade: good, fair, and excellent. What does it stand for? With us, I think there's 10 bullet points or 10 points on each grade. It starts with the battery life, and it starts with the age of the phone. So we grade phones differently, uh, believing that it is the fair grade. Um, a lot of people, they don't discuss the battery life. And when you get the phone and it has that service issue, they're either going to lose you as a customer and tell you, kick rocks, or they're either going to pay money and get it back. Why go through the hassle when you're saving it from the get go? So on our end, I prefer to tell you that iPhone 11s and older will not have a guaranteed battery. It's a used phone. It's an older phone. So if I change the battery, you're gonna get an aftermarket part message, and if I don't change the battery, you are gonna get a service message. So as a wholesaler, we sit in a very complicated area where it is hard to satisfy. So if we change the battery, you get a service message, or you get an aftermarket message. If we don't change the battery, you get a service message, and if we do change the battery and fix the chip, we charge you $20, $30 higher. How do we make sense of that?
Yeah.
This is the most this is the most complicated situation that a wholesaler can be in. Raising prices, or how do we deal with this? So we ended up saying, you know what? We choose not to sell boxes with the devices. We choose not to sell accessories with the devices, and we choose not to repair the parts because it's still fully functional.
Yeah,
And I
you
use
guys
this
did that before Apple did. So
exactly,
Tim
and
Cook
and
was
we
copying GSM Warehouse, man.
pretty much right. We use the example a lot as how can you buy a used car with brand new tires on it? This is a used phone. How can you expect a brand new battery on it? So lucky for us, we eliminate the misunderstanding with customers. And believe it or not, I think that is one of the reasons why a lot of people vouch for GSM Warehouse. That's why a lot of people trust GSM Warehouse, and that's why a lot of people deal with GSM Warehouse, is because we're very honest, we're very clear, we're straight to the point. Now, I may not be able to satisfy everyone, but whoever is going to buy from me is already satisfied at the grading they're buying. They know what they're buying.
Yeah.
So very simple.
As a repair shop, I see that every day. That conversation of like, as a phone wholesaler or as a phone vendor
Yeah.
selling a new device, customers just care about price for the for mainly, right? They want a good warranty or whatever, but at the end of the day, if you're $500 and your competitor's 200, they're going to go to the 200 guy, right?
100%.
And so they don't necessarily see the value yet of having the battery replaced, and so I can see why you would say, we're not going to just do that up front because then we're not competitive. In a lot of repair shops, I see that in my own because they'll buy a used device and then 6 months later see the value finally of a battery. But it is kind of like an industry dilemma, and it's a human problem, right? I'm too cheap to go ahead and see that I need this. It's like buying a car that has old oil. It's like I'm gonna go as long as I can with these old tires and car, but I know I got to get it done. I'm gonna wait till I have to, and
100%.
it's neither your fault or mine. That's just customers as being unfortunately ignorant.
Yes,
Um,
it's crazy how you actually see a lot of store owners are saying, which I had that discussion with someone yesterday at the Gadget Repair Expo. He said, if I sell a phone that has 82% battery on it, what if the customer comes back in 3 months and says it has a service issue? I said, so what? He bought a used phone, and he used the phone for the last 3 months. So why would you worry about him coming back to replace the battery? The battery is replaceable. It's something that drains out, It's not like a screen resolution where the
Yeah.
screen resolution gets weaker with the usage. It's a battery. So it's very similar to the tires on a car. You're wearing it out. You have customers who uses the phone while it's charging. How can you control that? You know what I mean? So you have customers who uses aftermarket chargers on a phone. How can you control that? If there is something outside of your jurisdiction, outside of your control, then you should not warranty it. The minute a customer repairs a phone in our store, we give him a warranty, but not on damage, not on breakage. So
Usage.
yeah,
Usage. Yeah.
usage exactly. So I've had customers where they purchased or repaired a phone with us, walked out in the parking lot, and dropped it and cracked it. We've had a couple of situations like that. I would not repair it for free. Now, yes, I can acknowledge the loss that they've went through and I can discount it for them, but I'm also giving them a part on the phone. I'm not getting that for free from a vendor.
Yeah.
So it's there's I think it's more of a cell phone repair shop owner problem, not a customer problem. I've realizing that a lot of people who own cell phone repair shops likes to buy devices that they're happy with condition wise, not their customers.
Yeah.
There's a saying that says, eat what you like, but dress on how people like. So this is your store. You price whatever you want, but you also have your devices are displayed to customers.
Yeah.
That's their decision, not your decision.
Of course.
So I found that challenging. I fixed a lot of that along the way, as you probably know. I talk to a lot of people. We do a lot of Zoom calls and give back information. Is to educate cell phone repair shops on how can they sell and what to sell. So it helps.
I think that I think I tell my team all the time that as Americans in particular, the e-commerce and particularly retail environments that we're used to going into have unfortunately, because of various reasons that we could go into, allowed customers to take advantage of the system but still maintain profit. If you look at Amazon, I mean, every one of us know, I bet 50% of this room right now has at
100%.
some point bought something that they're just going to return on Amazon after they use it for a few days, right? You know, and Amazon's just going to take it back and they're going to give you a full refund, and that costs them a ton of money because they might have made a 5% margin or whatever at the end of the day on that sale, that vendor and Amazon themselves, but they make so much, they make up for it in volume that it doesn't matter.
Yep.
I think that's breaking a little bit. I'm in ironically like an Amazon Reddit group, and I'm seeing so many customers getting banned recently. And their accounts getting basically deleted because they're returning too much. They're breaking the policy too much. They're swapping stuff. Maybe they took something used, sent it back, and now they're getting their accounts banned. I think retailers are getting smart and figuring out ways to stop that. And I think as that grows, we're going to have less customers that are just in that mindset of like, I got this new from you, therefore, no matter what happens to it, you should fix it for free.
Yeah.
Because I think those commerce companies have enabled that thought process, especially in a first world country like
Yes.
America. So hopefully more customers will demand less of that as time goes on.
One of the things that in the device industry, I've found out that, for example, in our wireless world, where cell phone repair shops, I found out that a lot of people are struggling. If you look at the percentage of cell phone repair shops that are struggling, those are the ones that only do repairs. Okay, they're living on a specific amount of income. If you're a one-man operator, or even if you're a two-man operator, but a one store, how many repairs can you do a day? 8, 10, So times that by 30, you're probably doing, 200 to 300 repairs a month if you're lucky. The profit margin these days is not as good as it used to be in the past. So now these stores are budgeting a revenue at about $20,000 to $30,000, possibly 35 to 40. after expenses, you're ending up with a small amount of profit. Now, the problem in the situation, if you get bad months, you're actually upside down.
Big time.
With devices, I'm realizing that whatever ups and downs you go to, you still maintain because of the buybacks from customers. So if you're buying a phone from GSM Warehouse at $100, you're buying it from a customer at $20. So if you don't want to buy from GSM Warehouse, or your budget doesn't allow you, your buyback off the streets is there, and the profit margin is huge. So you're able to recover a lot of losses if the repairs slows down. So I highly recommend every single repair shop owner not to invest $10,000 and $20,000 into devices. Invest a small $2,000-3,000. Keep something in your showcase. You're gonna get repairs where they're not repairable.
Absolutely.
Repairable. Why should the customer go to, Walmart, or go to a branded store like Verizon or AT&T and buy a phone and you have it in your showcase? So think about that. Offer financing. You're already paying rent. You're already paying payroll. So, and you already have the space.
Yeah.
So why not? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is our business. This is how we pay our bills.
I had a great conversation with Larry Roach, I believe is his last name, with RTO Mobile.
Yeah.
I think there's a perfect world where repair shops like myself can take a GSM Warehouse and an RTO Mobile and take the devices that are being bought from a GSM Warehouse and the financing in-house, or maybe even through a Progressive or SEMA. And that's a really sexy model of revenue that you're going to bring in. We have done that for a long time, like having the idea that we want a customer to be able to repair a device with us. That's typically how they come in. They trust us. They see how quick and easy the service is once they have an account with us. It's everything's phone number based. We're not asking your name anymore. It's really convenient. You come in 20, 30 minutes, you're out. And what we've seen is customers that have gotten a battery replaced suddenly come back to buy their son's phone because they didn't want to deal with Verizon and wait their 2 hours, and they're not going to transfer their data. They're going to come to XI Repair, buy a new phone, they drop it off. The old one, we transfer the data for free. They're in and out. They financed it, and then they even put them on Verizon Prepaid in store. Does Selfix offer, like, do y'all stores do prepaid stuff? Like
Yeah,
offer?
yeah. We
exactly.
offer Simple Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, and stuff
Exactly.
like that.
I think that's a great model right now. And
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. A lot of repair shops are just like, not only do they limit themselves to not selling phones, they're not touching computers. They're not touching other devices either.
We're doing everything. I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, you're paying rent and you're paying payroll. So, if a lot of people ask me, what is the breakdown of what you're selling? I would say 33% devices, 33% accessories, and 33% repairs,
In your own
and
operation?
1% prepaid. Now, so the 1% prepaid is bringing you the traffic. Yeah, in my retail stores, and the 33% of devices is bringing you profit.
Yeah.
33
And repairs later.
Yeah, exactly. And 33% accessories is also bringing you profit. The repairs are also keeping you going. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I always say this: you can pay bills doing repairs, but you're gonna get rich selling devices.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I agree with you. They're higher revenue, right? And so your margins
Very
are going
much.
to be
Yes.
pretty sexy.
If you cannot settle for number two in your area, if you are not that guy, there's actually another guy that's doing that. So you're
Or will be.
definitely there is. So if you're not selling devices and accessories and prepaid carriers or services, there's someone else near you that is doing that. So you're definitely getting the leftovers.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting the big bites. And of course, when a trending store or a busy store is doing that, he's definitely getting all the buybacks. He's getting all the attention. And he can charge whatever he wants because now people are hyped up about his location. They just know that's the spot.
Mm.
If there is a spot, that's what we do. We burn a price for one specific model, and then we get the traffic. Once we get the traffic, we charge whatever we want, and customers don't even ask. It's kind of like you go to Amazon and you're like, "Yeah, man, it's the tempered glass is $1 on Amazon," and that's what you're shopping for because that's the hot item. But everything else, it's not probably the best price out there. But you trust Amazon because you've done your homework on a specific item you knew about.
Mm.
Everything else you don't know about. You're just adding to the cart, and there it is. It's $200-300. And my wife is right at front door, right there, every day.
Very true.
Yes.
Very true. I've had a few conversations with other people at this conference, and I'd love to share it with you about. I know you're not GSM Warehouse is not necessarily a repair company. Cellfix is, so I think this might be relevant to you. I think that LLMs like ChatGPT, the search engines that we're using have changed the game. Where used to we saw our own rankings were pretty high in our local search engine, and they still are relatively. But if you look at iPhone 12 screen replacement in Google, you notice now there's a Google Shopping ad at the top of every market in America. Right below that is the Apple, and then the Snap Pack is way below any ads that might be showing, meaning like the 3 locations for your business. Where am I going with this is that it's pretty clear to me that ChatGPT, if you ask it where to get a screen replaced near me, is not going to be able to display your local Google business ad or Google business listing the way it was in the past. And a lot of customers are now moving to that. Just recently, Safari announced that they're going to be not partnering with Google anymore as the default search engine. So now you have every iPhone in America won't even be using Google by default, and nobody changes their search engine.
Yeah, yeah.
So again, where I'm going with all this is that it's very clear to me that to be able to compete as a repair shop going forward, we have to sell our services as products, right? GSM Warehouse is selling phones as a product through an e-commerce platform you guys did a good job building. And I think repair shops like us have to do a better job of offering those services in a transparent, upfront, and affordable way through some kind of e-commerce platform online to be competitive. Our current site that we're getting ready to launch offers iPhone 12 screen replacement as a part, and the labor is added inside of the site. So we pop up in that Google Shopping ad as a $20 or $30 screen replacement, and then your $50 to $80 labor rate is an option that's added on at checkout. But I just say all that to say you're absolutely right about customers wanting that convenient Amazon option. And I think if you can do a great job like Cellfix, you're going to stand out in this industry.
We are actually a good thing you brought that up because we were at Cellfix. We're actually relaunching our website, and on our website we're adding devices. So currently, cellfixstores.com will have a shopping cart for customers on e-commerce to go out there and buy a device.
Yeah.
I always say this: if you don't adapt, you'll die. This is an industry
Yeah,
of
100%.
that's changing. Part of the reason why I wanted to part of the reason why I come to these shows is because every 6 months to a year, there's something new.
Oh, yeah.
There's a niche. There's a gig. There's a new deal. Uh, Thinking differently, adding accessories, possibly adding parts. So there's a lot of things that the industry is changing to, where you cannot just live off one item.
Hmm.
Yes, it requires a lot of work. It's kind of the same thing as the lifestyle we're in. You know, back in the days, one household could used to work and afford everything. Right now, you and your wife are working. You know, you and your partner are working to cover the expenses that the life is about. So now, as a company
Hmm.
and as a retail store as well, you cannot just afford paying your bills doing repairs. So you have to have every single thing selling scooters, electronics, PS5s, Nintendo Switches, parts, accessories, repairs to be able to have a complete amount like what you used to have 10, 15 years ago. You have to.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
you have to adapt to this industry. It is changing. Customers are right now are getting financed and approved. Back in the days, they used to get approved $2,000, $3,000. We used to sell them a couple of phones. Now they want one phone, but you can sell them a PS5, a Nintendo Switch, an accessory, an AirPod. You know,
Mhm.
I've said that yesterday at my speech, where the financing option goes from the customer negotiating the price down to you negotiating the price up.
Wow, that's
So
powerful. That's powerful.
if the customer comes into your store and wants to buy an iPhone 15 Pro Max for $850, and he's negotiating you at 750 or 800, with the finance, you're actually at 850 plus plus plus.
Hmm.
So that's what the finances does is actually upsells the device that you're negotiating the price on, and you're adding on more accessories. So it's huge. It's huge.
That's powerful.
Yep,
Like a
yep.
great example of that in real life is when you buy a car. You know, you get that approval for whatever, and they're like, "Hey, you want tinted windows? Hey, you want this device protection warranty? You know, hey, do you want this protection plan? Do you want the crap you get on your tires? You know, like,
I'm a person who finances my cars because they're the worst investment, right? And I am a person that add on all the above. Believe it or not, when you're buying an expensive car and you want to change a tire, it's $400 a tire. But when you're buying, if I tell you that in the past year, I've already exceeded the amount of insurance for tires that I paid for on the spot of signing. So that total was like
You gotta
$2,300.
stop
I've
street
already
racing, man.
I've already changed more tires than that. So I am a bad investment to them. But that's how it is with people buying phones. They want to finance the phone. They don't care. And they're willing to add ACO insurance.
Sure.
And they
Sure.
want to add a case and a tempered glass. But they only want to spend $50 or
Yeah.
$100 today because
Yeah.
they just don't want to feel like
Yeah.
giving you the
100%.
money. Like nobody's gonna feel comfortable giving you $700 out of pocket.
Yeah.
50 sounds better.
I 100% agree.
Take it. Charge me $2,000, but take 50 today.
Dude, speaking of cars, driving around in Miami is the first time I've been here. I know you're from Florida. You're in Tampa.
25 years.
Tampa,
yeah.
right? Or
Yeah,
is it right? Yeah,
Tampa,
Tampa. Dude, what the hell is up with the drivers here, dude? I have been to every major city in the United States, and I have never. Yesterday, driving home 45 minutes to where we're staying in Key Largo, I probably had 20 McLaren, Lamborghini, and a whole lot of just motorcycles, 200 miles an hour down the
Where's
interstate
your
past
camera
me.
at? Where's your camera? That's Florida for you.
And one of them were you, based on your tire wear that you're going through.
No, I'm a pickup guy right now.
Okay, nice.
Housework, but you don't
Nice.
drive it much. But pickup, we have to have pickups here with the curbs and the driving and all that. Yeah, I'm a country boy. I'm in Tampa, so we're good. No, it's very nice. I mean, there's money here,
Yeah.
as you see it. And you know, a lot of these people, I think, invest into your business to have a very nice life.
Mm.
Life is too short, you know what I mean? So enjoy it while you can. I believe in that. I work hard and I enjoy it and I party hard, you know what I mean? So that's the way this life goes about is I give back to the community in the wireless industry because I believe that if everyone is successful, everyone will be satisfied.
Mm.
I cannot feel or show people that I am very successful or I started 14 stores. It didn't start from, you know, a rich background. It started like everyone else. It started with a dream and $21,000 and a refrigerator to fix phones on and painting, tile the store, everything with our own hands. So it started with, you know, blood, sweat, and tears. We did, you know, that when our first location, when we opened it, we ended up with $25 to our name. So that's how it started. I did not come from a rich background. I did not come from an investor background. No, all this started from nothing, like everyone else. And I wanted people to know that because I can relate more than what you think. What you see now is pretty much like I posted earlier is a product of my own environment. I've created this, you know what I mean? With the help of the businesses, with being honest and loyal and providing to this community. So I think everyone can do the same. The only thing that's holding you back is you. That's it. Nothing else.
Very true.
Yeah.
A lot of shop owners have been asking me here, and you've probably gotten this question: how do you think tariffs will affect the industry? I'll tell you my spill on it is as it relates to devices. I think if the tariffs stay in place of 20 or 30%, or like they get negotiated down to a flat rate, no matter what it is coming from China, which would be smartphones, they're going to get some base level tariff. If that happens, and repair components do have specific tariffs, obviously it affects repair. But I think the used device market, because the devices are already in the States, obviously they're not affected, right? So if anything, I see GSM Warehouse and by extension the customers probably benefiting from tariffs because used devices don't have a tariff. New devices will, which may actually allow that depreciation that we see of the iPhone 16 going to, $100 or $200 off when the new ones come out. That might actually slow that process just because there's such a big demand and now a bigger price difference between the iPhone 17 and 16. Any thoughts on that?
So, as you know, I'm very raw. I don't filter. So, is it going to affect? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But what affects? So, what affects more than prices is fear.
Mm.
So in the past month or two that we're in April and May or back in March, fear what played a big role of affecting the industry. Um, the unknown, let's put it that way. So the unknown is where everyone holds off to cash flow and to devices and to purchase it. So that affected. We've probably seen the worst 2 months uh, 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 in the wireless industry as far as devices. Now, my retail stores are doing really good. Why is that? Because a lot of people are going through a pre-recession, if you would call it,
I would argue recession for sure.
and they're selling.
Maybe not in Florida. You guys are killing
No,
it here,
we're,
man. I look around, I'm like,
yeah,
wow.
there is a recession. It's
Yeah.
happening. It's there. Inflation in Florida is huge. In the past 3 years, house cost tripled, insurance tripled, gas doubled, payroll went up $1 or $2. So you have to understand that there is a recession that's going in, and Florida, or maybe the south of Florida, like Miami, uh, 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 is where you will start feeling it. My brother sent me a listing yesterday of a property that was sold 8 years ago in Tampa for 18.7 million. It was sold yesterday for 8.7 million.
Wow.
10 millions less than what it was sold 10 years ago
Mm.
or 8 years ago. So if you I always believe you have to acknowledge the problem to fix it. If you don't acknowledge the problem, you will never fix it. So there is a problem with the tariffs. The fear of the unknown is currently there. Is it gonna settle? Absolutely. Is it gonna get better after it settles? Absolutely. But it must settle. We must know. I don't care about paying 100% tariffs, but I have to know: is it going to be 100? Is it going to be 200?
Sure.
Is it going to be 30? Is it going to be 50? So we can move forward. The time of now, do I think that the economy might get better and it has to hit rock bottom to go up? It does. Something has to be done. Interest rates, the tariffs, the anything that's been going up, it must have stopped at one point in time. And I think that's what's going on now. We're in the gray area of white or black, like where are we at now. So this is the toughest part of the economy, is the unknown. But I think eventually it's going to hit rock bottom. It must hit rock bottom, because if it doesn't hit rock bottom, we're not going to see any changes. So hopefully it hit rock bottom. Hopefully the recession does hit. I'm hoping for that. Whoever survives will be successful.
I was about to bring that up. You strike me as the type of guy in your market that you dominated. Like, I think everybody probably knows who you are in your Tampa market, probably across Florida. I know you got a big social media presence, so probably across the states. But you earned that because you clearly get up every morning, grind your face off, work super duper hard. You've earned that right. And I think the people like the Tonys out there that are going to actually crush it and are crushing it now will probably only crush more when the guys that just popped up that thought this was easy money get weeded out, and what's left is the top of the line.
You have two types of people. You have the people that. So I've gotten asked this question. Says, Tony, how many hours a week do you put in? I don't count. If you're the kind of guy who counts your hours, you're working for the paycheck. I don't work for a paycheck. I want to come to this world. I want to conquer, and I want to leave. That's what I'm trying to do. So I wake up in the morning. I'm here to conquer. I'm here to, leave a print on what I'm doing. I don't look at time. There's days I go home at 5. There's days I don't work. There's days I go home at 3 in the morning.
There's days you go home and you work at home.
100%.
I know you do, for sure.
Last week, I worked every day, 7 days a week until 2 to 3 in the morning outside of my house.
And you probably got up at 6, 7 a.m.
That's why I lost my voice.
Yeah.
But if I'm not going to be that guy who exceeds
and leads, because you got a team. You got a team to lead.
my expectation and my work, then how can I be the best in the room? How can I, if you're the guy who has your money saved and you're just waiting for the right opportunity, and no, this is not it. This is not it. This is not it. That money's gonna run out. What's the worst that could happen? Hit rock bottom? There's only one way. It's up.
Yeah.
and that's where I'm at. How many times I hit rock bottom? Oh man, I lost count.
Yeah, you can't go up if you never hit rock
Yeah,
bottom.
yeah,
like you
we've been
said.
there, done that. It's just, and talking about dominating Tampa, our locations are prime locations. I never look at the rent. A lot of people said, "Oh, my budget on the rent is 2,000." My budget on the rent is unlimited. My location is where it needs to be. I look at location, location, location. If that location is limited, then you're limited to a specific income. If my location is unlimited, then my revenue is 100, $200,000. Have I had stores that hit 150? Yes, still do. You know what I mean? But you have to. And do I have rents that are $7,000? Yes, I do. But it's okay. You make money. You spend money to make money.
Yeah.
So that's how it works. You can't be the guy who is like, 9 to 5. That's what the system wants you to do. You're that's what you're taught in school is like. This is your bubble. Stay in it. I'm blowing that bubble and getting the hell out of it.
Well, man, this has been a pleasure. If
Absolutely.
someone is listening to this as a repair shop owner, or maybe they're just selling devices, then they go to gsmwarehouse.com, right?
Correct.
And
Yes.
maybe they want to talk to you guys before they make their first purchase. Is there a good contact information on there
Yeah,
for that?
absolutely. There's you can WhatsApp us on the website. You can email us, and you can contact me directly.
I was about to say, you seem like
My
the
cell
guy that's
phone
cool with
number is
that. So.
813-900-4000. It's like, this is it, 813-900-4000. So yes, absolutely. This is
Me
my
and you
direct
are the
cell phone
only
number.
people that I've met so far that actually would give out their phone number on a podcast. So that's awesome. Dude. That goes to show how hard you're grinding.
100%. Surround yourself with successful people. You become successful. Do not surround yourself with people who complains a lot.
Yeah.
It's a vibe thing. My circle is very tight, but my network is huge.
Yeah.
So I'll leave it with that.
Cool, man. Well, thank you for doing this.
Absolutely.
Honestly, it was a pleasure.
Absolutely.
It was definitely a
Likewise.
pleasure.